When I met with Devin in Reno, we had a long conversation about my educational role within the slot machine gambling niche. And it gave me a compliment with that, which I thought was interesting. He called me the economist of YouTube slots channels. What? So let me share what he shared on social media. So that is Devin. Hi, Devin. It was great meeting with you. Can you guess where we're at? So I wanted to, The Economist is a British weekly newspaper founded in 1843, 180 years ago, with a long history, but it is still published today in print and digital forms. I think Devin's comparison relates to my ongoing examination of the U.S. gaming regulations and casino marketing practices with the intent of finding player advantages at slot machine casino gambling. I did this again in Thursday's live stream analysis of casino floor layouts at Coshada in Louisiana and WinStar and Chuck Durant in Oklahoma. I showed pictures I have permission to share and pointed out how to find winning slot machines. If you play slots at those casinos, you have that analysis now. But the intent wasn't just to help slots players at those three casinos, but also to educate slots players at other casinos about what to look for. I've never gotten so many heartfelt and sincere thank yous for a live stream before. Speaking of my channel's longevity, this live stream is my 207th within coming up on 4 years. For YouTube channels, that's a long time. I started my YouTube channel last when I probably should have started it first. And I'm always in 2018, and I'm always trying to help my audience win. Not just that, but also leave with their winnings, which is remarkably more difficult. This year, I've added show and tell demo videos into the mix, which I point out where I point out what to watch for at my casino or at your casino. So my casinos are the casinos that I have permission to record at so far are at the three Reno casinos, 2 Oklahoma casinos, and 1 Louisiana casino, and that's where I have permission to record. Next week, I thought I'd see if I got more. Yeah, somebody was like, Richard was like, your Thursday live stream was the best. And that was just the tip of the iceberg. WinStar has a casino map on their webpage. It's not fully accurate because I have fans at WinStar and they're like, go to places it says, and it's like, that's not the machine that's still there. But you can look at the map and you can know where to go. It's one of those features. Anyway, it was just a live stream. It wasn't my online course. It wasn't my 30 days to play slots smarter and win. This is just trying to help people. But these show and tells are meant to show and tell. I talked about it for years, and now I'm like, people seem to really like being, seeing it. So okay. I have so I'm doing that now. I have Ohio casinos were not great for letting me have permission, but Nevada casinos seem to be much more flexible. I'll talk about that in a little bit. I have over 1,000 videos on my YouTube channel as of last week. I was rechecking how many minutes those videos ran for and realized I'd neglected an entire category of videos. My current total, not including this live stream, is just under 23,000 minutes, or just over 380 hours of content. Considering that typically takes me many hours to create 1 hour of good content, that's a huge investment of my time. I mean, this is the beginning of hour 5 for my live stream because I started working on it 4 hours ago, not to mention the stuff I did this last week to get it going. That was an hour or two. So every one of these, it's 5, 6, 7 times as much as the actual video playing. So, that's a huge investment in my time, but I love helping slots enthusiasts play slots smarter and leave with their winnings. Here and there throughout my comment, I'll talk about slot machine history, gaming regulations, winning slot strategies, how casinos are trying to squeeze money out of you with their multi-million-dollar casino floor layouts, our conditioned response to those attempts, which hurts us financially, and so much else. There's just so much more yet to cover. And I want to go ahead and thank Magpie 11 for her donation. Thank you. This is a super chat. Winners are committed to learn and grow. And Magpie, thank you for your Zelle donation. I rang the bell for you. I rang the bell for you on Thursday's live stream. Thank you. Right. So Magpie 11 is very distracting. Or maybe I'm easily distractible. But it's a long-term fan. Thank you, Magpie. So, casinos are trying to squeeze money out of you, and our conditioned response, our response to those attempts hurts us financially, and how we can kind of, people say, well, willpower and discipline. And I'm like, it's a skill. It's not something you have to flip a switch. You have to develop your ability to resist. And one of the things you can do is, why are you making it so hard on yourself? Here, noise suppression, headphone, what the heck? It's just stop the bombardment of sound. Oh, okay. So again, I talk about these things, and there's so much yet to cover. I was recently going through my catalog of mostly written but unpublished content and discovered I'd accumulated 137 additional website articles, podcast episodes, and YouTube videos I still need to create. I need to order them in priority, which I did the last few days, and so the priority of best meeting your wants and needs. Of course, I just checked, and I have another 14 great ideas waiting in the wings based on your comments, questions, and conversations, like Devin's. Thanks, Devin. And for those who haven't seen it, this is Devin. Hey, Devin. Say thank you, Devin. And inspiration comes from my membership groups like Slots IQ, in which you get 1 month free of with my fundamentals slots course, 30 days to play slots smarter and win. And this year, from my weekly meetings with my advanced course participants and advanced course slots labs participants, which is currently, registration is currently open, and we could use a few more before we cap out at 20 participants. So if you're interested, and I should mention now, the easiest way to do this is to go to professorslots.com, and there's a course sign-in right there. And you'll get immediate access. And so these are my courses: 30 days to play slots smarter and win. And this is Slots Labs. It is available. I need to fix something here. And it'll be beginning in 14 days. There's content for you to see before that. There is, I've made available to anybody who cares to log in. They will for free. They will get my several previews, but they won't be able to answer the survey on when you want to meet, because it's up to the team when they want to meet, what works for everybody. I suggest, I think it's 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern, on Wednesdays, but it will be better. It will go forward from there. Right. So, okay. So there's things to be seen there if you care to see it. Now, I did want to mention this is Hetty. I'd like it better when she's over here, Daddy's little moneymaker. But I know lots of you are on Kitty Watch, so I just wanted to point out. No, sorry to disturb you. Sorry to disturb you. Wake you from your nap. Okay. Yes, and I'll get to some of the comments in a few moments while I continue to talk about our topic. So I cover, like the Economist newspaper, I cover slot machine gambling principles, practical topics of passing interest, what's out the latest, what this whole bonus game prevalence, that's become so popular, and things that come and go because they turn out to they're a big push by the gambling market, and then it turns out to be nothing. It just didn't take, as it were, which is all part of the whole gaming industry. I talk about elementary economics, government reports, financial reports from slot machine manufacturers submitted to the Security Exchange Commission. These are great, by the way. If you see an interview with vice president of Ainsworth or whatever, and those exist. Kitty's saying, "Yep, I thought you might." If you watch those, that's great. They're fine, but you need to understand they don't have to tell the truth. But to the Securities Exchange Commission, either tell the truth or don't say it at all, under penalty of law. All right. So I love the Security Exchange Commission financial reports of these gaming companies, because we learn the truth and we can trust the truth. Otherwise, they're fired. I have seen mistakes where they took it back the next year, and that executive is no longer an employee at the company. That sort of thing, but it's pretty rare, and so there's a certain amount of trust that you can put into not lying to the federal government, because that's bad, and you get there's penalty to that. And I talk about commercial topics like casino openings, and thanks again to Jan, my moderator. She took me to Horseshoe Lake Charles in Louisiana on the opening day, and we sat in the VIP section. And I think I counted myself being the 50th person in the casino for the first time when they opened at noon. Yeah, that was pretty impressive. I was a little shy. So these casino openings and the effect they have on regional gaming industry market penetration. Sorry to use the quarter words, not the dime words or the nickel words, but yeah, there's practically a border war going on between Oklahoma and Texas, where Oklahoma tribal casinos are funding efforts to not have casinos in Texas. Same way with Maryland and Massachusetts. Same way with Connecticut. The two tribal casinos in Connecticut, Foxwoods and Mohegan Sun, they did a number on MGM Springfield opening up in Massachusetts, just across the border. These are all small states in southern New England, and they just made it very tough for. My other cat's over there being cute. Very tough for that casino to open. They never knew what hit them, and the reason for that was Foxwoods and Mohegan Sun had competed with one another for years, driving Foxwoods up to number 2 in the world, and before WinStar opened. And that's just work, money, and all that. And then they use that expertise to take MGM Springfield down a peg. After a year, the general manager fired or reprimanded harshly for his failure to succeed, to meet financial expectations by MGM Corporate, MGM International. And it's just like, you just walked right into it, buddy. And so, yeah, all these, one state affecting another state, and these casino openings. Only one state, Iowa, and I talk about these things. One state, Iowa, has a casino within 1 hour's drive of every Iowa resident. At least one casino within an hour's drive of every Iowa resident. That's full market penetration. There's no more money to get from players because everybody who wants to go to casino easily can. And so it's tapped out. And we'll talk about that in a moment and how it relates to slots channels. So there's also the evils of problem gambling, although I must stay clear of offering any medical advice. I'm not board certified. All these degrees on the wall are not medical degrees. Engineering, physics, one's a MBA and ish degree, Masters of Engineering Management from the University of New Haven. Actually, it's executive Masters of Engineering Management from the University of New Haven. The executive was kind of like an add-on. It's a marketing technique. It wasn't officially on the certificate. Anyway, so I have to, there's state reports on return statistics from 20 U.S. states, which I have an online resource of all 56 states, territories, and our federal districts. Some of the territories are just like crazy for slots. What they call Northern Mariana Islands in the South Pacific, the Macau of the Mariana Trench. It's just crazy what's going on out there some places. And, what are the theoretical payout limits in state law for 31 U.S. states? And what does that even mean? So many people slots channels misrepresent the information available from state gaming regulations. It's almost as though they haven't read it, or they've read their states and go, well, that's what it is for every other state. I'm sorry, it's state law. Some states don't even have gaming regulations in state law because they have compacts. So you need to go through each. And as I tell people every week, your state is special, just like every other state. I've also talk about other authors in the gaming industry, including interviews, and the list goes on and on. But it's more than just offering a comprehensive analysis of the slots gambling industry in English-speaking countries. I've gotten to know you, what you like and dislike. And one of the things most people don't like is slots history, so I stopped doing that. It's still out there, but I'm not doing more history. What you want, I know what you want, but also what you need, which is two different things. I even know audience segment size. If those of you who are entrepreneurs, your ears just perked up at that, which turns out to be surprisingly small for the entire entertainment and education slots niches. I know how many of you wanted a fundamental slots course as a convenience to avoid listening, watching, or reading my 1,000 plus topics, all of which are readily accessible free content, despite what my critics try to hammer into you. And yes, I've gotten to know my competitors, to use that term loosely. Their fans contact me by email or during these live streams asking for help with understanding what those other YouTubers have told them. And I do my best to unconfuse them and explain that attempts to confuse them is a well-known way to grow a YouTube business. Just confuse your audience and blame them for not understanding you, and get terribly emotional, usually through hate tactics, to invoke an emotional response in your audience. That's one way to sort of get around the whole how large is the slots, how large is the audience for the slots niche? Well, if you can find a bunch of haters, who don't care about slots, but they care about, hey, it's a whole thing. Now, this is like 10 years old. This is popular 10 years ago, but people still try it. People aren't very educated about YouTube. They think about stuff that happened 10 years ago. When I got started in 2018, I was the same way. I was like, well, all I need is a viral video. Sorry, buddy, viral videos were a thing of the past. And I had to learn. I love learning. But I'm not making a judgment of right or wrong about other people's ideas of running a business. My focus is helping my audience. And some of them have been misled. And when they ask for my help, I must explain what happened to them, if it's what's best to fix their misunderstandings. I've been at this for a decade. What's interesting lately is how the barrier to entry has lowered to just about nothing to having a slots channel on YouTube. Anybody can do it, even to get monetized. And then there's the whole, what do you need? What kind of equipment do you need? Well, do you have a mobile phone? There you go. Good to go. Maybe a microphone, please. Noise suppression and microphone at the same time. Good to go. Who doesn't have that? All you need to have a YouTube channel is an email address, a phone, and hopefully a microphone. Thousands of slots channels have launched since the beginning of last year. And that's great. But again, I've been thinking, how do I lead them? How do I support them? How do I help them? Because, I help you, but maybe I can help them help you, right? I have these degrees. I didn't get those degrees. I didn't use those degrees without learning how to be a leader. But it's great that there's so many of these other channels. But again, I know the audience sides for slots channels, and that audience is not increasing any more than usual, despite the many thousands of slots channels that have started. Just putting up a video on my Facebook group, from your phone of what happened at your casino, that's the beginning. But the thing is, that audience, which is not climbing more than it usually does. It's a steady increase, but it's not like jumping thousands per day or anything like that. That audience has many, many more choices of what to watch in the YouTube slots niche. As I look to the future of these slots channels, how this works is most will fade away. Not yet. I mean, a few of them, yeah. It's been like a year and a half. Having been at it for a decade, I know what it takes for a YouTuber to sustain an interest in continuing. And for most of the new YouTubers, their interest is temporary, especially when they realize how small the audience is for all of us, which we have to share. Nobody's really watching more videos. They're just watching more channels for the amount of time that they usually spend on YouTube. And that they most haven't realized that yet. Where's the big bucks? Where's Mr. Beast, number 5 on YouTube? Why can't I have 1 million subscribers? I'm sorry. BC Slots is our biggest slots creator on YouTube, and he just passed 600,000 subscribers. And those people who are YouTubers and other niches are like, really? Where's the million subscriber channel? In the last year. I'm sorry. It's been 17 years since Brian Christopher started his YouTube channel. I think a lot of his work has been done in the last 8 years or so, but instead of the last 17. But still, other YouTubers are like, that's hardly worth our time. So to continue to have a YouTube channel on the slots niche, you need a reason. This is in all the courses on how to have a YouTube channel. You have to care about something, and caring about money isn't it. I don't care about money. I mean, I feel responsible that I need to pay my way, that, I've been pulling from my savings for 3 years since I got laid off as an aerospace engineer, PhD in the building at General Electric. And, I need to make sure that my expenses are covered. Because that's just the responsible thing to do. But I'm not here to become get a 7-figure salary or anything like that, which is good because, with the audience size that we all, cherish, and the lovable audience, it's small. Yeah. Yeah. So I'll be here for another 10 years or whatever. And we will see how things go. Great questions coming in. For most of the, so they haven't gone through that realization that the audience is small, which impacts how many views and therefore how much money they make. But for now, they're having fun. Being the economist of slots channels, let's see, where am I at? There I am. Being the economist of slots channels, I have an excellent ranking on Google search, and the new YouTubers, I can hear the new YouTubers saying, "What's that?" Look it up. I remain. I continue to serve you. I appreciate you. Okay, so this live stream is an opportunity to ask slots questions. I talk for 20, 25 minutes or so at a slots topic inspired by your questions from past live streams or comments, questions, and conversations with you. If you have a question, thank you for already asking. Ask away, and I'll start answering those questions now. And I want to thank my many moderators for their help today. Right. Oh, also, please like this video. It's a way to influence the YouTube central server, just like it's your favorite local casino. And the more, and it brings in more people, the more the merrier. Yep, the cat's stepped away. So let's move on to questions. And I see some in the live chat. Okay. Robert says, thank you. My first ever, you had on July 12th, 3 days ago, excuse me, petting my cat earlier. You can't see the fur, can you? July, this year, July 12th, at 4:10 a.m., I hit my first double diamond ×3 on a $4 maximum bet, total $3,200. Congratulations on your hand pay. First ever in over 40 years plus. Wow. And you took my class. I am convinced that helped you, because it helps people. Serenacy's, thank you, Professor, for the kitty sighting. All is right with the world. They are over there now, and they're kind of turning into puddles a little bit. It's supposed to get up to like 105 here in Reno today, and that's pretty awesome. And if you're feeling some heat down the southeast, good luck getting through that. I know some of you had. John was telling me how hot it was getting on Wednesday night. A question from Chris: do you need to worry about a casino that is continuously updating slot machines, lowering payback percent to pay for the upgrades? No. And the reason for that is slot machines are cheap. Yes. A new one with all the features, one is $20,000. That's not much. What you need to worry about is when they build a building like Fox Tower at Foxwoods. They put up a skyscraper, that's going to cost a pretty penny. And they're not going to pull it all from savings. They're going to take a portion of it from income, which is where I mean, think about just how much money they make, how much profit. They give back 90% of it. So how much profit do they keep? It's millions. $20,000 is not going to be a blip on that. And even if they, get 20 of them, it's not even $1 million. It's not even $500,000. So yeah, that's what to watch for. But is there any upgrades, any expansions of the casino floor? Not new carpeting, not new paint on the walls, but not even new machines. That's just the cost of doing business. These things wear out because we play them 24 hours and 7 days a week, and it's amazing how much they get played. I did some checking, and it's just crazy. And how rough people can be on those machines. They get repaired all the time, so I don't see it. But I went to one casino, Horseshoe, Indianapolis. Have they fixed all those machines? 10% of them were down. But then this was just after the pandemic, and it was hard to find good help, hard to find parts. Shipping had these problems, and so they just accumulated. And they had work orders on them. I can see the date when it broke, when the work order was put up, and it was like 3 months old. And so you can have 10% of your slot machines go down for unscheduled maintenance, anywhere from being boom shattered by a player to the bet button isn't working. I mean, I've been doing my demo videos, and I'm like, the bet button is broken, and I have to go press another button in order to get it's happened a lot, but that doesn't rise to the level of having repairs. Sometimes, if it's still kind of working, if there's still a button you can use, but if and even I've seen screens that were kind of like degraded video screens that were like a little bit kind of like doing a staticky thing. Oh, we can still play them. No reason to shut them down. They're money makers for the casino. Yeah, updating slot machines is not relatively expensive. It is to us, but to the casino, no. And it's all budgeted because there's something called routine maintenance and unscheduled maintenance, and that's all part of operating a casino. Yeah, so that's budgeted. Hi, Denise. Welcome. Good to see you again. John has a question. What's a good formula to test your casino's payback percent? I think my home casino in Oklahoma dropped to 65% my last trip. So I offer gambling records. You can go to, let's see here. I mean, you can do this yourself. I have articles about what you need to track. But let's see here. Let me put that up. Right. So you go to professorslots.com, courses, sign in, and you come to my products. And one here is 7 gambling record secrets for $37. And it includes spreadsheet templates. Not everybody has Microsoft Excel. I offer Microsoft Excel, but I also offer something called CSV. Is it CSV? Is it? Yes, CSV, not the pharmacy CVS, but and that format is available for free on anything. And then if that doesn't work, PDFs, so you can print it out and write it down. And these are a way on the Excel spreadsheet, they have formulas, and you can track your return to player and that course talks about this. Because I also offer the templates for $17, but without really much of an explanation. This course is meant to explain that. There's the casino return to player, which you might get an average for the month if you're in one of the 20 U.S. states that provides the monthly average. 7 of those break it down by slot machine denomination, but sometimes it's by state region and not by casino. And yeah, we all wish we had Mississippi return statistics, because they break it down by whether or not it's a progressive machine, 10-cent machine or 10-cent progressive machine. And so there's things to be looked at there, but that's the casino. Then there's what's the return on that machine? Not you playing it, anybody who played it, what's the return on that machine? And you don't know. The casino can print out Is this machine a moneymaker for them? Is it the best moneymaker, the worst moneymaker for them? And so they make decisions on that to replace it. We need to find something that's more popular because this slot machine is not pulling its weight. And that's where the slot machine return to player, this casino return to player, slot machine to return to player. But what you're asking about is your return to player, not on a machine, although you can't break it down that way. Not by a casino, although you can break it down that way and should. I talk about that in the class. But rather, you go to this machine, you play it for a little while. You go to this machine, you play it for a little while. You go to this machine, you play it for a little while. You go to this other casino and find 5 or 6 machines and you play those for a while. And you know how much money you started with and how much money you ended with, from which you can calculate your return to player for when you played on the machines you chose. So what's a good formula to test your casino's payback percent? Amount you walk in with and amount you walk out with. And that's a percentage. If it's over 100%, you made money. If it's under 100%, you didn't. So actually, I should be very careful. You said formula. Amount you walk out with divided by amount you walked in with. So if you walk out with $112, as I show in my demo videos, and you walk in with $100, then that division, 112 divided by 100, is 112%, which means your profit, you broke even, it would be 100%. Your profit is 12% because that's over what you brought in. Now, I have a loss limit of $70. So if I drop from $100 to $70, that's it. Reset. Try again at another time, because I don't spend the whole $100, because you can spend all your winnings from the last 2 weeks and go, oh no, because you're chasing wins. I set a loss limit. You should too, whatever you want to choose. And people say lately, did you have, it hardly seems worthwhile to win $12. I said, it's not $12. I'm trying to provide proof of concept. It's an engineering a researcher concept. Proof of concept. If you had $1,000, it's $1,120 profit. $10,000, it's $11,200 on 12% profit, not $12, 12% profit. And I like to tell my audience, if you study my methods, study your casino, are able to get out with their money, which is the hardest thing, not winning, but getting out. Winning is easy. Getting out is like 5 times harder. If you can get out, then you should be able to make 30%, 50% profit. Come in with $100, leave with between 130 and 150. Come in with $1,000, leave with 1,300 to 1,500. But not because you're just being lucky, because you are trying and you're thinking about it, which can be a little hard. But my audience, they want to win. You're welcome, John. John says, thank you for your great answer. Greener pastures. Is it my imagine that casino payouts are less and less frequent? I used to hear people winning more often, as well as bigger payouts. There is data. We need to look at data. Let's look at data. So I will go to, what's a good one? Illinois. Slots. Return to player. I'm going to be the right address. Maybe. Yes. I've tried to pull it up from memory. Now, it's been a little while. It's been a year since I did Illinois. And there's links to where all this state data is. But look, this is they have bars and taverns with slot machines, which are legal. The bar and tavern has to have a gambling license through their municipality, and so they started doing this in September 2012, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, and more and more casinos, more and more bars and taverns got these machines, but then it went up because it started low because there was only like 130 places, but then it went up, and then as time went by, they more and more bars and taverns got gambling licenses because it was just like a backlog. So right around here, it was like 2,000 waiting to be approved, and they did. And hey, Kissy Hat. And so then over year, 2 years, 3 years, it kind of flattened out, and then around 2016, they gave a little bit more money back, but then it's in a steady decline pretty much since then. I mean, there was the bumps having to do with the pandemic. That's why the data is missing here. Everything closed, bars and taverns and stuff. But they're now at less. This is a year ago, April 2022. Now less than ever. So this is an example of what you might be talking about. But then we go to places like Delaware. Where that's the curve, where two casinos started low, rose over a year or so to a high, which they came close to. Well, they stayed steady at for like a decade, but then the casino that opened 2 months later made the decision to start high, but then stay low for like a decade. What is that? 1995 to 2001. That's 6 years. Then they rose it. Something happened then, maybe new owners. And then they dropped steadily for another 4 years. Then they rose, and now they're all very close together. Here's the pandemic, all very close together. And this is the 3 casinos in Delaware. And so these are the business decisions casinos make. It's not luck. It's business decisions. And so this is what it is lately for those 3 casinos, and that's the pandemic. This is the last up until December 2021. And so I'm not sure quite what happened there in 2022 or the first part of 2023. But, Harrington was like doing some stuff where it was the best, and Delaware was like the second best. And then Bally's Dover, which became Bally's Dover because it was purchased. They definitely, I think, right around here, that's the business decisions, right? And so they're lower, and while it doesn't seem like much on the scale over on the side, a fraction of a point means a lot. 2.5% is worthy of a backflip. It's the difference between the best casino you've ever been in and the worst. And so one more I'll do for you here, because again, state report data, not my opinion. It's what the state says. The data they got from casinos. I think this is just fascinating. See these 3 lines across the top? This is 2020, 21, 22, 20, 21, 22, and first part of 23. So over 3 years of data. This is Reno, Sparks, and Wendover. Those 3 lines across the top. It's not showing up as I'm on my mouse. Sorry about that. Across the top, and then downtown and the Strip, and it happens jackpot. There's like 27 districts in Nevada, and I only did like 6 of them here. You can check yours if you want to. Those are lower, and there's daylight in between the 2 and fluctuations. And so this is not random. This is business decisions. And it's interesting in Nevada, given the huge gaming industry here, the cities work together with all their casinos to have a plan. And some casinos, some cities have a plan that works with other cities. Sparks and Reno, side by side. You don't even know when you leave one and go into the other that they're that close together. They're like, let's do this together. You go up, it's small differences. And I'd like to point out things like you see this little bump here, and you might not notice, but there's a little bump here because they all go up a little bit. And then there's a bump there. That's January. January 2021, January 2022, January 2023. Yeah. Seems like you should go to Reno or Sparks or Wendover. And if you can go in January, that's probably a good idea. This is just baseline statistics. It could be that your casino payouts are less and less frequent, but it could be that they chose not to have the payouts high when you go to the casino. They could have said, well, we need to make it Wednesday night instead of Thursday night. They can move it around. The only way you know for the overall casino is if you never leave and you watch everything, or you look at monthly return statistics if your casino, your state has them. Robert says, do you feel the best times to go to the casino is 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. after a Friday and Saturday? If you're in a big enough casino, small casinos aren't busy on Friday nights. Or maybe they're busy on Friday nights and Saturday nights and nothing else. But then Hard Rock, Tampa, Pechanga, Yamava, WinStar, those casinos are busy every night. All right. And please cut it off at 6:30, not 7 a.m. I found the cutoff is at 6:30, not 7, and you can waste a lot of money between 6:30 and 7 trying to win. You told us about your win, and yeah, yeah. Yes, and so yes, the that does work. I like to use that plus multiple other methods. That's what I talk about in Slots Labs, and how to combine strategies for all the best. It can. And those are the best days for most casinos, because most casinos are busy on a Friday night. So go Saturday morning. Busy on a Saturday night. So go Sunday morning. But make sure you're between 4 a.m. and 6:30, because 7 is too late. Lisa says NG Slot is at 462 subscribers after just 6 years. I'm sorry. It's tiny. I mean, it's great for the slots niche, but it's not like, and it's great to have confirmation that Brian Christopher is in fact doing it. Can in fact, let's see here, remove this. Okay. It's great that Brian Christopher, we don't just have Brian Christopher, we have NG Slot. But it's basically, you work it, but none of us are at 1 million after a year. I mean, talk to any YouTuber, what's it worth? I mean, if you make an effort to have a YouTube channel, should you go into the slots channel? If you like it, go ahead. The hobbies are great. But if you're trying to make a lot of money, you need to find something where there's people. Yes, slots players have money to give you some of it, but really their money's dedicated to going to the casinos. And not to mention, casinos are pretty exciting places, designed to be very exciting. And some of the best slots channels are trying to mimic that excitement, because we're all, I'm decided recently to start something else in addition to slots, Professor Slots. I've always liked writing. and I've gotten better at it and all the stuff that I've learned from Professor Slots. So I thought I would start writing books, science fiction, fantasy. It's your choice in that. You have to understand your audience. How big is the audience? Would the audience buy books? How do you sell books? Well, self-publishing has become huge in the last 8 years. And so, I have to look at this from an entrepreneur's point of view and say, should I write science fiction or should I write fantasy? Which one has a bigger audience? Not to be, all about the money, but just I could do either. Which one should I do? And you look at this and you're like, yeah. So, great for them. Great for these other channels that have been around for a little while. I'm glad that you think it's impressive. Please understand that if you think it's impressive, was it because he told you that you should be impressed? Because the numbers aren't impressive. It's sad. And with all these new, you say, I think you will overtake. Did he tell you that? Because, if you can create the rumor, then, that's part of his job as well. And with all the new slots channels coming out and the audience size not changing, everybody's going to be dropping because there's thousands of slots channels that are going to go up a little. Yeah, I don't see the data supporting that. Yeah, I wish them well. Yeah. Frenzy says, great content as usual. Yeah, great. And Robert says, yes. And Jane says, what might happen with payout odds at the current tribal casino in Park City, Kansas before the Wichita? Right. Well, this depends on market penetration. All right, I'll just tell you, and then we can talk about what I'm talking about. Are there people who can't gamble because there isn't a casino near them? Let's go to Kansas. So I will go to professorslots.com, and I'll make myself over there. Professorslots.com/KS. Now, whatever state you have, I have an article on it. Professorslots.com/2-letter postal designation. Okay, so there's a map on all of these. There. And you're saying to Park City. Oh, it's not opened yet. Right. Park City. Where is Park City? Across the road is closer to being an HR. Yeah. There's rules. HHR machines. It depends if it's popular. So you're saying it's across the road. And so they're going to have to share an audience. It's like when I was talking about all the many YouTube channels. The audience isn't like they're not bringing audience in. It's the same old audience, and now it's split many ways. So yeah. Have you played HHR machines? They're not a lot of fun. It's really hard to get excited about them. I mean, they look like slot machines, but it's just the winning is not really there. It's based on old HHR is historic horse racing. It is the outcome of games of races from the past, horse races. You make a bet and the screen comes up, and the position of each reel is the position of a horse in a race. 30 different races, could be as much as 30 different races, 30 different horses. So it's not all from the same race. It's not always the same horse. It's just a mix. And it turns out those odds are just like, I mean, I broke even at Derby City, went to Red Mile, worked hard, used my strategies, broke even. And I'm like, wow, it's hardly worth it when you break even. I think that initially people will be excited to go to a new park. And if they're in, and if your current casino is anything like, not Windstar, Foxwoods and Mohegan Sun versus MGM Springfield, they should already be starting with trying to build loyalty in their customers. But sometimes casinos, who have competitors coming, will lock down and say, we need to start saving money now, so we'll make everything tight. I think that's a bad decision, because if you want to build loyalty, customers are fickle, but if you start a year before, which Foxwoods did. This is why MGM Springfield was like, we don't understand. It's like we're being beaten. Well, you were being beaten a year before you opened. Yeah. Terry says, do you shy away from Washington State? Would you recommend going to Nevada versus local tribal casinos? You can break even in Washington. It has a unique system not available anywhere else. If you want to put your time in how to win on Class 3 Washington slot machines, you can, but you need to dedicate yourself to that. And Devin, who I showed you a picture of, he is in Seattle, and he goes to Nevada. Goes with $500, leaves with $2,000 to $4,000. That's not going to happen at Washington State casinos. But then I have another fan who is like 4 casinos in a weekend. And he's like, yeah, I didn't get to 6, in Washington. So it depends on how much you want to gamble. He does a little better than breaking in, and Eric in Washington, he does a little better than breaking in, and he's figured stuff out. I got him started. There's an article out there that I have, and he just unique. I think I call it professorslots.com/unique. Let's see, on how to win on how to use the system. Unique slots. And yeah, a strategic plan to win on Washington's unique slots. And there's a video on this, and basically it's based on virtual scratch tickets. They look like slot machines, but there's spools and sub-spools. And if you go through the compact, there's an Appendix X2. I read it very carefully, and I understood the jargon and the math that they were talking about, and I figured out how to win, but not by much. It's pretty, break even, which plenty of people in Washington are like, I'll take it. And so you have to invest time in learning how to win. If you put a lot of time into, Devin figured out how to win in Nevada, and it took family there, and it worked well for vacations and all of that, and that worked. And it's not so far, and it all worked out for him. But if you're someplace else where it's not so convenient, or maybe you want to learn in your state, Washington is tough, but it's not HHR machines, which are tougher. Yeah. Crosswinds. Okay, so back to Kansas. Crosswinds has already planned to expand their casino and expand their hotel, right? Duh. I am not surprised, because that's what you do. Robert says, do you plan an up-to-date return to player percent for Atlantic City, New Jersey? I showed how to do it. There are 20 U.S. states that do monthly returns. I haven't gotten through all of them. It's just busy. And there are people in New Jersey who want that. But then the rest of the country, not so much. So I have to prioritize. I think at this point I'm up to, I think New York is next. Wait. Let's check this out for a second. Where's that at? Let me share that. And New Jersey. as New Jersey is alphabetically before New York. Yeah, I updated this in March. I also showed you how to update it. And there they are. Borgata. Can you see that? Let me make it bigger. Borgata is gray. Second highest. Harrah's been highest for what? 3 years? 3 years, 3 months? Think that's going to change? Not unless it's been bought. And Borgata. Down here is blue, is Gold Nugget. It kind of went up a little bit, so it's in the middle of the pack here. Orange here is Bally's Premier. That was a Bally's that had been purchased, and now it's Bally's Premier. For years before that, it was just Bally's, so you'll see the blue is ending here, but then the orange is starting there, right? Or right there, it's kind of mixed in. So yeah, there's the pack, there's one above the pack, and then there's one high above the pack consistently with time. And I've validated this up until April. Yes. So I want to cycle through all the rest and come back to this. So to answer your question, yes, I will update it, and I did, and fairly recently. When did I publish this? May 29th. So that was about a month and a half ago. There might be one more data point because the state data doesn't come out till at least the month's over, right? Obviously. And then sometimes it's like 2 months later. State of Ohio is like 4 months later. And so, you might be missing a data point there, but that's what's going on. Yeah. John says, thank you for the great answer. You're welcome, John. Nice name, by the way. I've mentioned that to you before. And Kissy Cat's here. And she caught me live. Yes, welcome. I'm not sure, Penta Black, if Magpie 11 is here. She's a very busy person. Well, Golden Nugget in Lake Charles, Louisiana, the Horseshoe Lake Charles opening that I went to in December last year, that's nearby. It's Lake Charles. And so that was Isle of Capri Riverboat Casino during one of the hurricanes. Sorry, I don't mean to laugh, but 10 casino employees were on the riverboat casino during a hurricane when it got jammed up under the bridge. Made all the local news stations, and none of the employees were hurt. But the executives that were at the meeting, they were like, yeah, I was surprised they didn't bring in all the people that were on the boat at the time saying, well done, sticking with the ship. As it jammed up under the bridge because the storm hurricane blew it around. But yes, they got permission to open a land-based casino, Horseshoe Lake Charles, and it's just messing with all the locals, all the local casinos, because it's just one more when there's not more players. It all has to split. And Gold Nugget in Lake Charles gotten so tight. That's a decision. I mentioned it. It's a decision. But it's kind of like, let's just make everything tighter so we make more money. And I'm like, dude, that, casino executives, what are you thinking? That people will like that? You need to make yourself attractive. Invest in yourself by lowering the odds, or at least making them the same. But it's all short-term thinking. Yeah. I'm trying to understand slots of fun. Good thing casinos don't just give in to payback rates like gas stations at the same off exit ramp. They do in Nevada. Yeah. And Kissy Cat says, yeah, always talk to the locals. They know everything. Golden Nugget has been sending out, was it Golden Nugget? Trying to remember. Has been sending out the emails, if you're on their list, to tell people if you're in the top tier, these are the advantages you get. But they're sending out these emails to everyone, including not the top tier. And the people who are not top tier are like, what are you doing? Why are you telling me I'm not on the list? Why are you telling 80, 90, 95% of your email list, no, not you, the other people? And it's just like poor marketing. Yeah. I'm glad that you like old school slots, Robert. Congratulations. Somebody else said some of them are, I think it's coming up. NG and Raja are big bettors. Are you? How does that help? How does that help you? It's exciting to watch somebody like lose $10,000. Raja actually contacted me one time and said, did you see my video? I lost $100,000. And I'm like, why are you happy? Oh, because you made it all back in views. Remember, I've told you, $10 per 1,000 views. Look at a video, divide it by 100, divide it by 1,000, multiply it by 10, divide the views by 100, and that's how much money they made in that video. How much money did they spend in the video? Did they make money? It's business, people. So yeah, they made big bettors, but did they make money? It's coming from somewhere. Pinto Black, there's a technique. It's like talking to a slot tech. Don't listen to their opinion. Listen to their facts. You have to separate the wheat from the chaff, whatever, the whey from the chaff, whatever. You need to separate out their data, their facts, from their opinion. They might say, well, you might say, what machine should I play? And they might say, you should play this one because somebody won on it. And people go away from that, go play that machine. That's not what you want to do. You want to ask a follow-up question. Oh, that machine right there? When? What night? About what time? Do you remember? Otherwise, it's useless because time and day matter, and which machine. But that sort of, don't make an interrogation, but ask good questions. And some don't know, and some are like just chatty, and just talk about stuff they watch YouTube channels too and get all bad information, and it's just like, yeah. What I've been hearing lately is the airport in Las Vegas talked to the slot attendants for the slot machines in the Las Vegas airport, because they don't work for the casino. They work for the airport. And if they work for the airport, they are not required to tell people anything. They're not required to avoid saying things. They can say, you should go home. Your flight's, you got to go. Da, 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 da. They can't do that in the casinos. Otherwise, they get reprimanded, if not fired. But the Las Vegas Airport Authority in Pennsylvania is trying to get those into their airports as well. Then you can ask those people and say, which machines pay out? And they'll tell you. Because they don't work for the casino, and it doesn't matter to them. They're not prevented. And so that sort of, again, know your casino well. Look for advantages. What do you want? Understand your goals, and which casinos give that. Chris says, I caught Thursday's live stream while on a mini vacation at Kashada. I stood up, looked around, and paid attention during the walk around. I'm starting to see highly visible slots and pays better, right? I mean, if nobody else is winning, why would you expect to? This is all very straightforward. And Kissy Cat says, I'm in a non-gambling state. Yep. So I watch everyone. Good for you. And yeah, that's winning a huge jackpot is a fantasy. It is. People get disappointed with me. 30% profit, 50% profit. My neighbor in Ohio came over to me and says, I have $100. Let's go turn it into $1 million. And I said to him, you need $2 million. You'll win all the $2 million back, and you'll win an additional $1 million using my techniques. And he said, what? I have to disappoint people. Sorry, it's only 30% to 50% if you don't give it all back, which you'll have to work hard at usually to not give it all back. And people were like, I'm like, it's better than any stock market investment you'd ever make. But, it's slot machine players are just hit with emotion at casinos. One of the things I was going to say about becoming a writer and starting another channel and et cetera, all that isn't done yet. I'm just working on it. But to be an author, you should have an author's platform and have a sign-up base. And I'll send you a link when that time comes, when I've set that up, in case you are interested, as I am, in science fiction and fantasy. In any case, I'm probably going to be huge. Why? Because I've been struggling to be more exciting than casinos. So I've developed in my presentations to be more exciting than casinos. And so I'm going to go into another area and they're going to be like, whoa, calm down. Yeah. Huge jackpot is a fantasy. Yeah. Walking out with 50% past what you walked in with. It's just like, but is it? Yeah. Oh yeah. So there's a article on, I didn't say it was Firekeepers in Michigan, but it was at Firekeepers, and I was talking to the person behind the rewards counter, and I'm like, hey, I just walked around for 90 minutes on a Friday night, heavy rain, casino's half full. The next day I was going to a wedding of the daughter of one of my moderators, and I saw no hand pays, although I'd heard about one who had said they'd just gotten one in the high limit room. Did not see any. I mean, you can't see everything in a casino. I know you can't see everything in a casino. You miss these things, particularly in any decent sized casino. But I usually walk around and see stuff. And I didn't. And so I went to the front counter and I was chatty. What? No, she was not really cute. Well, I'm single. Anyway. So I was chatting her up in one of the and working hard, and Michigan girls. I like Michigan girls. I'm from Michigan, women, and so I said in the last 90 minutes, I was walking the whole time, and I didn't see any hand pays. I heard about one, but I did not see one. And her coworker, who was behind her, turned around and said, "Oh yeah. That's going to be another hour and a half, and there will be lots of them." Everything was going off everywhere, and I'm like, if the casino went from half full to full, and if you say I did see one hand pay, then it would be 2 hand pays, not hundreds. Yeah. Yeah, it's, congratulations on all their hard work. Yep, yep, yep. But I had begun to realize, there are limitations. My profit last year was $50,000. It had doubled every year. It's not much, but I was happy to do it. My accountant, who's the accountant of YouTubers, said in 2021, by the end of the year, you should be at 200,000, because that's the growth is he's seeing. But we didn't realize that Slots Channel, the whole thing, is small. Yeah, last year I made $50,000. That's it. That's all I'm going to likely make. If I work hard, this year I might get to 60,000, but it's no longer doubling every year. That's it, which is a fine thing, but it's also a hard way to make a living. So yeah, maybe I'll write. Yeah, Frugal Gambler, that came out, what, 1970? Yeah, it's fantastic. I like Gene Scott. Yeah, there used to be something called American Casino Guide. Every year they'd come out with the same article, and I had like a decade's worth of that book. And I went back through all of them, and I'm like, it's the same article. No changes. Most people were buying that book for the second half of the book, which was coupons. And of course, Steve Borey has retired, except when he gets crated out by his son, Matthew, and they do stuff together. They showed old videos. If you see Matt Borey on a recent video on YouTube, or rather Steve Borey on a recent video, and he doesn't have gray hair, it's because it's like from 2009 video. Yeah. Yeah, enjoy HHR machines. Highly visible machines work. It probably will be a smaller casino. Go over by the bar, and the machines, like there was a bar and there was machines lined up, and one of the machines on the right side for me, the one closest to the wall, I broke even on for like 3 hours, which is good. Yeah. I make my comps work for me. Yeah, it's great. I don't particularly care for travel comps. I just, partly because I'm working so hard. And so, if you like comps, great. But I got to my 5th electric bread maker, and I was like, enough with the bread makers. Do you think 3:30 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. a good time frame to go after? Yeah. Yes. Yes. If you go to WinStar, they've got the best and latest software, and so you could go as early as 2:00 and leave by 4:30. But if your casino is not the biggest in the world, they don't have that yet. I have you said I have a book on. I have a book that somebody just gave me. And one of my moderators just gave me. The Greatest Gambling Stories Ever Told, 31 Unforgettable Tales of Risk and Reward, edited by Paul Lyons. And I was like, my moderator and best friend Paula was telling me about it. And I okay, did you want it? Okay. So one of them is by Dostoevsky. Called The Gambler. D.H. Lawrence, that you may have heard of, The Rocking Horse Winner, Roald Dahl, Alexander Pushkin, Stephen Dunn, Mark Twain. I've been to his museum in East Hartford, Connecticut, and yeah, he got into gambling there for a while. And who else is here that would just be recognizable names? Yeah, that's the names that jump out at me. Wodehouse, P.G. Wodehouse. Yeah. So yeah, there's definitely some academic books out there that you might find interesting. And if you go to Ohio, I should share this because I've looked at every state's regulations like multiple times. So let's do Ohio. Because I put a link in here and all the usual sections um, under Gaming Control Board. Let's see, law enforcement. I didn't put the link in this time. Law enforcement provides quarterly and fiscal year gaming crimes and statistics. And I won't dig for it now, but they will list how many robberies, how many burglaries, class E felonies, all the different things. I find it fascinating. How many people were killed at the casino, that sort of thing. And I don't know any other state that does that. I mean, they may have it in a police blotter, but to have it at the gaming commission, to see the crimes. Yeah. Yeah. Kissy Cat says, Robert, my friend won 34 grand at 3 a.m. on Fremont. She loves late night. Yeah. 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 Use that in highly visible areas, highly visible machines. After a holiday, start combining things. There's newbies, and I like to talk to them, but the people who have learned stuff, and they want more, start combining stuff. Yeah. That's all we talk about. I just talk about it once in 30 days, but that's a lot of what we talk about in Slots Labs. Yeah. Several California casinos have replaced their older machines with brand new machines, getting harder to find the old school real type. Yeah, it has been for a long time. It used to be everywhere, right? Yeah. Not sure who's you're responding to, moderators. Lots of fun. Right up there with CSI Vegas. Love the drama and the science, but filming at a real casino is challenging. As you would know. Yeah, as I know. Have you visited Boston? I used to live in Connecticut. I took my daughter. I offered her a yearly trip, once a year, someplace domestic. Once a year, not that year, and an international destination. And the third year, you're on your own. So I took her to Connecticut when her and plus one, now her husband, and we went to see Boston. The day before, we went to see New York City. That was actually a Tuesday. And the reason why I remember that is, do you remember Occupy Wall Street? That was the first day. We saw them. There was like a group of like 8 people, and they were kind of like following us around. We're like, what? Not that they noticed that they were following us around, but they were constantly in our face, across the street and moving down. And we were like, something's going on. And that turned out to be something for a little while. And then we went to Boston and did all the tour stuff, and that was wonderful. Yeah. We took the amphibious boat, the duck tour. I just love those. I've been the one on San Diego. Cincinnati has one in the Ohio River. I don't recommend it. I went to the one on San Diego. That was awesome. The one in Vancouver was awesome. Boston was awesome. Seattle was awesome. Cincinnati, not so much. Right. Pokeball. Let's see. Bobo Breeze. What's your favorite slot machine? It doesn't matter. I tell people, and I pardon for me if I seem a little, jokey. I like machines I win on. Now, I am fond of Wheel of Fortune, but only because I won on them so much at Horseshoe Cincinnati, back when it was a horseshoe. So, if they pay out for me, I have a fondness for them. But the difference between fondness and financial reward, two different things. And if you're saying, if you have fondness, then play it anywhere in any U.S. state. Knock yourself out. That's fondness. But if you want financial reward, if you think that your, Horseshoe Cincinnati and you won on them will apply anywhere else, well, you need to know why you were winning on those machines in Horseshoe, that it was in the back of the high limit room with wheels high up, and it was facing the door, which showed out over the table game area, and that's why I was winning. Not on the first one. That was a $100 machine. Not on the second one, but the third and the fourth one on the back wall. 90 hand pays in 9 months. And one of them, $27,000. So yeah, fondness versus financial profit. I walk by Wheel of Fortune machines now, and I have fond memories, but I don't equate them to, are they highly visible? Are they in the back of the high limit room with the wheel high up? What's going on? I know why I won on the Wheel of Fortune machines I won on, and I will evaluate them with all the others. Two different things: fondness and financial, revenue. Robert, you're welcome. Well, lots of stuff here. Magpie says, I drove around fires in California to get to casinos. Yeah, a lot of the tribal casinos in California are on reservations, and that usually means woods. Yeah, exactly. Lake Charles has Houston by the throat, too far to Oklahoma. Yeah. Let's see what I'm looking for. Hashtag question. Lots of comments. This is great commentary. Everybody talking to one another. Wow, comments on if you have a question, use hashtag question. I am a very early morning person. Go Navy. Okay. I will try 2 to 6:30. A lot of people are very early morning. I say, oh, I'm sorry, it's early, and they're like, no, I'm up. I will keep you all posted. That's great. And okay. So thank you so much. I have a couple of demo videos for you to watch here. I highly recommend them. Learn your casino well. Learn by my example, my show and tell. So thank